Hello everyone, it's Kari, and today I have some fun masculine cards using this FIxologist stamp from the April Hedgehog Hollow Kit. If you've been a subscriber for a while, you may also have this one that's from last year. Now let's go ahead and get started. I have some papers here, some cream color cardstock, some gray cardstock, and this beautiful pearlescent silver cardstock. This is from Onyx Studios, and it is so perfect for this. Look how it catches the light. It's almost like that metal or steel look, so it's going to work perfect for this project today. For the first card, I am going to use this Color Box Pigment stamp pad. It is silver, it is metallic, and it's much like the Delicata. I have the gold one here, but I don't have the silver. But guess what I found? This Color Box one that I've had for years and years and years. It is getting a little bit dry, but look, it still works. And so I am just going to swipe that across this cream colored cardstock. This is some 110-pound cardstock because I wanted it a little bit heavier for this card. And I'm just going to use a little bit of a tissue here to hold on to this while I swipe that on so I don't get fingerprints and so I don't get silver all over my hands. Now look how cool this looks. It looks like a fun masculine metal silver background, and I really love the way this turned out. I'm just going to use my absorber here to clean that up, and it cleans up perfectly off this craft mat that I love. Now for this galvanized steel or the hammered metal look, I'm going to take VersaMark ink and spread it all over that, and then I'm just going to place the paper right on top. But before I do that, I almost forgot to use my embossing buddy bag. That's going to help keep the embossing powder out of places we don't want it, and I'm just going to press that right onto this background stamp. I found this is a really easy way to use background stamps because you don't have to mess with taking it off the backer and putting it onto the MISTI, and it still stamps out great. For this one, I'm going to use some silver embossing powder. This is on the gray cardstock here, and I'm going to set that aside because I will go ahead and heat emboss all of them at the same time. For the next one, I'm going to take this pearlescent paper from Onyx and silver heat emboss on this one as well, using the same method, just inking it up with VersaMark ink, then putting that right on top and adding the embossing powder to that. This already looks so cool. Look at how it catches the light. I can't wait to heat emboss that with the heat tool. For the last one, I have this watering can embossing powder from Ranger. It's one of my favorites. It's a darker embossing powder, but it has like flecks of silver in it. It looks like a watering can. So it kind of has that galvanized steel look that I was going for. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the gray paper, once again with the darker embossing powder. To heat set this, I'm going to use my retractable craft pick to just hold it down, and I have it on the craft mat, which is heat resistant, so it works really great. I am still using my Recollections heat tool here. I mean, it still works. It is good as new, so why fix something that's not broke, right? Here is a look at all the backgrounds we've done so far, and now it's time to turn them into cards. This is going to be super fun. I'm going to start out with the tonic pearlescent paper that we heat emboss with silver, but first a little sweep up of my my area here. I'm telling you, I love that surface sweep. I use it a lot. So I've cut some black matte cardstock for this panel here, and then I have a smaller piece of black that I'm going to stamp that stamp on. It's going to look great with this when we heat emboss it with silver, so I will just go ahead and put that in the MISTI, use my embossing buddy bag, VersaMark again, and go ahead and heat set some silver embossing powder. Now this first one didn't come out exactly perfect, but here is a trick for you. It has a little bit of modeling in there. I'm going to go ahead and put it back in the MISTI. I kept the stamp right in there, and I will use the VersaMark again, stamp that up, add a little more embossing powder, and this time it came out a little bit smoother. I was going to do it a third time, but I didn't want to press my luck. So that's going to do great. I went ahead and trimmed that with a cream colored mat behind it. Now all there is to do is to glue everything all together and to add it to a card base. I'm using 110-pound cream color card base for this one so that it matches my cream mat that I used on the stamp there. And I'm using my favorite liquid adhesive. This is the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. It has worked really well for me. Just going to attach that there, and then I'll attach the sign right there. For this, I'm going to go ahead and use some 3M foam tape to pop that up, give it some dimension, a little more interest, and I'm adding it all over the back so that we don't have any spots that are going to sag or indent in on this project. It's going to look great. So I'll remove the backer to all of that foam tape and just add it, and there is our first card. For this next card, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the stamp directly on that background we created with the ink pad, with that silver pigment ink, and I'm going to take some black pigment ink, which is VersaFine Onyx Black, and stamp it 2 or 3 times so that I get a really good impression. It's not going to be super bright and super dark because it is pigment on pigment, and it actually was still a little bit wet, I think, but you can still read it. It gives you a little bit of a vintage look. Do I want to say vintage? Maybe like an older feeling. Anyway, it's a great look. I really do love how it's turning out on this silver background that we created. I'm trying to decide which one of these to use, and I think the darker one's going to look great with this. I'm going to create a frame to go around this entire, I want to say picture. I keep wanting to say picture. It's like a sign. Like this could be a sign you have in your garage. And I chose, I think it's the 6th one down here from this rectangle die set. And I'm going to go ahead and take this over to my die cut machine and cut that out. And I will have a beautiful frame to go around this card. Look at how great this is going to look. I will take that same die cut and cut out some black fun foam here so that we get more of a raised look on this card. So now I have a frame here, and I also have a piece that's going to fit with that inside piece that we cut out of our panel. When you run fun foam through your die cut machine, it has a tendency to kind of squish just a little bit. So as I glue this on, there will be some that come out of the side. I'm just going to take some scissors and cut that down on both sides just a little bit, and that is going to make a perfect frame for us. I'll use the same liquid adhesive to attach the frame to the card panel here, and I'm going to add some acrylic blocks over the top while that dries so that that can dry and adhere really well to that card. For this last card, I have some vellum here that I stamped with black ink, and now I am heat embossing it with clear. For vellum, it's really important that you heat up your tool first for at least 30 seconds and then come to the vellum and take it off every once in a while. Here you can see that I'm doing that so that it doesn't warp the vellum. Now to attach it to our little panel that we did here, I'm going to use this Create a Sticker Xyron Creative Center here. And wouldn't you know it, I ran out of the cartridge right when I was starting to do this. But luckily, I had an extra cartridge just sitting over there ready and waiting. I love it when I'm prepared like this. That doesn't always happen. But look how easy it is to change out this cartridge, pull the old one out, put the new one in. That's all there is to it. And then you're ready to add that sticker to the back of this vellum. You just run it through, peel it off, and the entire thing has that sticker on it, so you're not going to see this on the vellum. Now that doesn't happen when you try to just use some liquid adhesive. You usually end up seeing that on vellum, so I wanted to avoid that here. I have gone ahead and embossed some Nina Desert Storm paper, and I want this to look like a pegboard. If you had one of those dies that's like a stitching die, that'd be really cool because that would cut out all those little holes and make it look even more like a pegboard. But I didn't have that, so I just used a dotted embossing folder for this one, and it's really cute. I cut out all these little tools here. For this, I used a cut file with my silhouette. I have a confession. I have some tool die cuts on order, but with all the things going on right now, everything is taking so much longer to get here. So I didn't actually receive those dies. I'm going to link them below because they are super cute and really awesome. and they would work really well for this card, but since they didn't come in time, I just die cut some that I found online with my silhouette. And now I'm just going to add those to these 2 cards here. Look how cute that looks. That's like his sign in the garage over his pegboard. It's kind of cute. Now I'm just going to ink up with some distress ink around the edge of the pegboard here. I used a finger dauber to do this. I would have added maybe a little more across the entire thing, but I had already attached those tools. But I think it would look better just a little bit darker. What do you think? We're going to finish up these cards by adding them to 110-pound card bases, side folding cards this time. I'm using some Nina Desert Storm paper for these ones, and for the pegboard one, it had all those polka dots. Because I used the deboss side, so it was embossed on this side, I thought it would stick better if I used some foam tape, so that'll give it some more dimension as well, so I added that to the entire back. By the way, I have been learning stop motion animation. Did you like my tool animation at the beginning? I'm a newbie. I've done a few times, but I'm learning some tricks. So I thought that was fun to add to the video. I used the tools to do that, and then they turn into these cute cards. My husband has Makita's tools, so that's why I made them the darker kind of teal blue color, and I thought it worked out great. I hope you enjoyed this project today. I hope you are inspired to make some shiny galvanized metal or hammered metal tool cards, maybe with some tools, a pegboard, some heat embossing, some beautiful papers, and these stamp sets. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing. I would love to see you again. I really appreciate all the likes and the comments and seeing you again and again. I'll be back real soon with more inspiration. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.